Welcome to the video series of business intelligence, or I will say SSIS, SSRS and SSAS. So the first question, the $1,000,000 question, what everybody would like to get the answer is, what is BI? What is business intelligence, right? And how are these three guys, that is SSIS, your SSAS and your SSRS, how are they related to business intelligence? Okay. Now, business intelligence is nothing but, basically converting your data into information or knowledge and using that knowledge for better decision making. So in other words, business intelligence is all about data, and data. Okay. So in other words, you can think about that, you have raw data. From a raw data, you basically gather information about raw data, what you have. Okay. From the information, you convert the information to knowledge, right? And from knowledge, you use the knowledge to make good decisions, right? And then by those decisions, basically you make profits or you make money. Okay. So at the end of the day, business intelligence is all about converting your raw data into information and using that information for better decision making and for better profits. Right. So how can we actually do business intelligence, or how do we achieve business intelligence? To perform any business intelligence activity or to execute any business intelligence activity, there are three prime steps, or there are three important tasks you need to perform. The first task is you would like to collect the data. So you would like to basically take data from various sources and basically dump it at one common place so that you can basically, convert the data into information. Once you have collected the data, you would like to analyze the data. So the first step is you would like to collect the data, then you would like to analyze the data. And finally, once you have analyzed the data, you would like to present the data to various stakeholders. So you would like to view the data. So for any business intelligence activity, the first step is collecting, second step is analyzing the data, and finally, view the data. Now, each of these steps or each of these tasks what you perform for business intelligence is mapped to the three products what are given for business intelligence by Microsoft. So in order to collect the data, that's where SSIS comes into picture. SQL Server Integration Services. Once you have collected the data by using SSIS, to analyze the data, we have something called as Server Analysis Service. Once you have analyzed the data, you would like to present the data in various formats to the top management, or must be to the stakeholders, or you would like to basically drill down the data or basically present the data in various formats. And that is done by using SSRS. So let's start with the first thing, that is SQL Server Integration Services. What exactly is SQL Server Integration Services? So in other words, let's start with the first step in business intelligence, that is collecting the data. SSIS, or SQL Server Integration Services, the main goal of SSIS is basically collecting data from various sources and consolidating, or basically gathering the data at one central location so that we can analyze the data. So SSIS is primarily for three important tasks, or for three important processes. The first is extraction, transformation, and loading. So the collect phase of business intelligence primarily consists of three important tasks. First is extract the data, right? Transform the data, in other words, basically apply transformation, and then load the data, right? So what we'll do is we'll do a small sample. We'll try to see that how SSIS helps us to do extraction, transformation, and loading. So here's a small sample we'll demonstrate. Here's a small text file I have called as small.txt. Okay, and this text file basically has nothing. It has just names of customers. And what we'll do is, the first task could be to extract this data from the small.txt and move the data to capital.txt. And while the data is moved, we would like to convert this customer names or the names of the people to capital names. So the first task is extract the small.txt data and move it to a new text file called as capital.txt and move it to the uppercase or capitalization. Once that is done, from the capital.txt, I will take the data and I will load it into my SQL Server. So in my SQL Server, I have a small table here called as cap name in the customer database, right? So you can see that there is a cap name table here. So I will load from the capital.txt to the table cap name. So in the small demo, what we'll do is using SSIS is we will first read the data from the small.txt file, load it into the capital.txt with capital letters or with uppercases, and from capital.txt we will load it to the customer database in the cap name table. So let's create the SSIS project. So go to programs and go to your SQL Server 2008 or whatever SQL Server you have installed, the version, and there is a menu over here called as SQL Server Business Intelligence Studio. Now the SQL Server Business Intelligence Studio, or BIDS, whatever you can call, is a it's the IDE basically, to create your integration services, to create your analysis services project, or to create a reporting services project. So let's go ahead and do a new project. Now, as soon as you do a new project, right, you'll find that there are a couple of templates over here, and each of these templates, belongs to the three technologies what we are speaking about, that is SSIS, SSRS, and SSAS. So you can see that for the analysis services, there is an analysis services project here. For the integration services, there is an integration services project here. And again, for the report server, there is SSRS, there is a report server project here. The other project templates are nothing but, they are wizards. So for example, the integration services, there is an integration services wizard here. In the same way, for report server, you can have a report server wizard here. So now we are interested more in the SSIS part. So let's go ahead and create an integration services project here. Let's give a nice name to this. Integration capital file. Okay, something like this. Not a nice name, but will do for the demo project. So let's do OK. Now, as soon as you basically open the new project, or as soon as your project opens, you'll find that it has a nice designer pane here, and it has a lot of control items over here, and the solution explorer with the necessary files. And there are some tabs over here: control flow, data flow, event handler, and package explorer, etc. So let's not get confused with all the terminologies. Let's not try to understand all the terminologies in one go. Let's first concentrate on three important terminologies, that is control flow, data flow, and package. Let's try to understand these three things, because these three things are the base or the fundamentals on which your SSIS package stands. Okay, so in order to understand these three things, these three terminologies, what we'll do is let's first analyze our project. Once we analyze our project, we'll try to map whatever we have analyzed to these three things or these three terminologies. Now, if you try to analyze a project, right? So let me just say project. Okay, our project has two tasks at this moment. Task one, where basically we are going to read the small text file and convert that small text file to a capital text file, right? And the second task is where we're going to read the capital text file, and basically we're going to read the capital text file and import it into a SQL Server table. Okay, so in task one, what we have to do is we have to do the following things. First thing is we are going to read the small text file, right? Second, we are going to convert this, whatever we have read, right, into upper cases. So convert to upper cases, right? And then we are going to create a new file called as, upper text, or like, caps.txt, whatever you want to say, and load this data into the capital text file. So capital text loading. Okay, right. So this read is nothing but your extraction. This upper cases is nothing but your transformation, and the capital text loading is nothing but your loading. Okay, and in the task two, what we'll do is we'll read this capital text file. Okay, so capital text read. Okay, and then there is no transformation over here. We're going to just load the capital text file in SQL table. Right. So we have two tasks here. Task one, we are going to read the small text file, convert the data of the small text file into upper cases, and then basically create a capital text file with all the data what we have converted. Okay, and then task two, we're going to read the capital text file which has been created by task one and load it into SQL table. Now whatever we have analyzed, let's try to map it to our data flow, control flow, and package. Okay, the subtasks, the task one and task two are nothing but control flows. So if you remember, the control flow tab is nothing but it's basically tasks or the main task or subroutines which will execute the ETL process of your project. So the control flow is nothing but your task, and inside the task you have your ETL process, and this is called as your data flow. Right. So you have control flow, which is nothing but your subtasks, and then you have data flow, which belongs to a control flow, and the data flow has the ETL process. Okay. Now the control flow and data flow, basically at the end of the day, they comprise to make something called as a package. So your project is at the end of the day a package. A package is nothing but an XML file. It's your DTS. It's by the name called as, the extension is by the name DTS, and it's an XML file. It's like an executable, which you can go and execute your complete DTS package or your complete SSIS solution. So you have package. Inside package, you have control flows, right? And every control flow will have data flow, right? So what we have to do now in order to create a project? First, we have to go and define 2 control flows inside our package. And for each of the control flow, we have to define the data flows. So let's go ahead and, try to do this project.